MSSU prepares to host its first hackathon. I'm Lisa Oligas, and this is Newsmakers. Hackers are often portrayed in movies as those who break into computer systems illegally. But in the tech world, hack means creative problem solving and building things quickly. Now, 24 hours is pretty quick turnaround, but building technology products, but it is time given for a competition called a hackathon. The event coming here soon, Lion Hog Tech. It's a collaboration of MSSU and the University of Arkansas. Joining us to talk about the event are Dr. Swana Setu, and the MSSU Assistant Professor of Computer Information Science and the founder of the Cognitive Robotics and IoT Consortium, or the SMART CSI Club, as well as Dongyi Wang, Assistant Professor of Engineering and the Agricultural Engineering at the University of Arkansas, also Director of the Smart Agriculture and Food Engineering, or SAFE Lab, at the U of A. Welcome to Newsmakers. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
So, a lot to talk about here. Let's begin with defining what is a hackathon. Students work in teams, correct?
Yes, hackathon, as you said, it's not about breaking something, definitely. It's about building something, actually. So, you know, even when you say breaking something, they are coding, they are trying to break something there, but you know, there are teams which are called blue teams or white hat hackers who normally create something or solve that breaking that they did. So this actually is not definitely that kind of a hackathon where you try and break something or create something, but it's kind of a build-a-thon. It's also called as a hackathon because, you know, it's a technical event and it's an innovation marathon, I would say. So they just sit and code for 24 hours, not only coding. It's like, you know, brainstorming ideas, creating something, and trying to solve a real world problem.
Okay.
So it goes for 24 hours.
And do they know this real world problem now, or they get it when they get there?
Actually, in our Lion Hog Tech, normally how we plan the event is that they'll be given a theme and they start working towards that theme. So, for example, the University of Arkansas last year hosted something like, you know, hog hacks, where they were given a theme called yin and yang, and you know what is yin and yang, something good and something bad. So they just developed something which could give you a good technical solution or take a roundabout to get another solution. So that was their theme. So likewise, we will give them some theme which is almost might be related to, I can spill the beans, but I cannot.
No, we don't want to spill the beans. Don't want to spill the beans early. Yeah. So let's talk about what are the significant skills used at a hackathon? I mean, and why the pressure of 24 hours, Dr. Wong? Why do we have like that, like a marathon, like she said?
Yeah, so there's actually the whole motivation we're building this program is to help the students to adopt the knowledge they learned from the classroom, maybe the coding, maybe some other background. Like my students, they have agriculture and food background, so it's kind of like totally different than the coding, right? Yeah. So we need to form a team with this kind of the interdisciplinary background and see how they were trying to propose something to solve the real world problem. So they will have 24 hours to identify a problem. We will give them some guidance, but they will do some search first, formalize the ideas, and find a solution using the coding. And at the end, they will do some final presentations, and we will judge based on that.
So this is, you say it's a platform for collaboration.
Correct.
In the real world, how are those skills required?
So, see, imagine a startup culture, okay? So you're building something like, I would give you an example, right? My students in the last symposium developed something like a real-world application for visually challenged people where, for example, they don't have anybody at home. They want to find their daily objects in the morning. They want to find where their shoes are, where their socks are, where their shirt is. They want a blue-colored shirt maybe today, and they are visually challenged. So to help them, what do we do is we have, everyone is talking about AI today, right? So you have so many AI applications or tools that we have today where, I mean, all of you might be very familiar with something like face recognition. Whenever you go in somewhere, your identity is, known through your face. So you have something like that. So like that, we have several face recognition engines that we have. And these students, they, for example, take a picture of a blue color and stores in that database. And so then when you show a blue color, it's able to tell you that it's a blue color. So that is an application. So
Amazing.
you
Yeah.
now have a blue colored shirt. So again, you have a database where you create so many pictures of shirts and with different colors. And when you show that shirt, it's able to identify. So through that, and then they actually have a text-to-speech converter where that it says it's a blue shirt, and now that person is helped. How nice, right? That's
I actually have a friend who's blind who got the AI glasses, and it will help her to know what she's seeing. So it's a perfect example.
So with today's low-code platforms, the AI that we are talking about, it is not only for technical people. Anybody can develop that skill very easily with all the AI that is there today.
Yeah, well, that was a great real-world example. I mean, I was going to ask you guys to tell us some, for our audience, real-world examples. I know that a GroupMe came out of a hackathon, as did Carousel. So Carousel is an app for selling used items. GroupMe is kind of a communication app. So give us an idea of things that have come out of hackathons. I mean, can they be a great place to develop ideas?
I would say that what I'm expecting for this hackathon. So I'm working on the agriculture, but how this AI things can help the farmers, right? Which is pretty big for both state of Arkansas and state of Missouri. And one thing you can imagine is that how to estimate the yield of our crop, right?
Right.
So how to do that? People just go into the field right now and do the counting and everything. But what the new technology can bring to us? They are using the drones or the flights. They are carry the cameras, taking the pictures, and using the similar technology we talked about for face recognition. We identify the different crops and do the estimation of the yield. That is the real applications which can potentially help the farmers to improve the efficiency for their own farm, right?
That's great.
So the similar ideas we're planning to bring to the hackathon is we will prepare some data set for the students and do some specific task related to the food and agriculture.
Yeah. How does this incorporate what they learn in class?
So, see, in class, you teach a lot of theory and a bit of practice. But, for example, my students considered a CIS student, he gets into a software company as a developer or anything. They do not know, the entire process. How is it going to go, right? So I wouldn't talk several technical terms here, but, from a hackathon, the students would understand how to plan, how to build, how to execute. So if they are building a product, for example, like I mentioned, like you were talking about the Google glasses or anything, not a Google glass, probably a glass for the visually challenged or anything. So that product needs some planning. So if I say in a regular person's terms, I would say, for example, if you're making you're cooking or baking, you need some recipe, right? And you need some ingredients. So you do not know the procedure, you need the procedure. So likewise, to build a product or something, they should be knowing all these, where in every day's class with the 1 or 2 hours that we have, we cannot show them an entire application, right? So these things they have learned throughout their curriculum, but they get to implement that. It's a platform where they can implement such ideas, and how nice it is for them to get to know all these. And you have industry mentors who are going to be here, so they get to see the real people who are actually building, and they get to learn from them and co-build along with that. So it's a very good platform where the students can experience this kind of a knowledge share.
So how did you two decide to work together on this? How did this collaboration begin? Because you're going to turn this into an annual event, alternating schools. Dr. Wong?
Yeah, so
I think you can
go
I'm eager
start.
to talk about that because, Dr. Wang is my professor.
Okay.
I was a postdoctoral student at his university, the University of Arkansas. And so we worked on a similar application when I was a postdoc there. So our shared vision led to this. We thought, okay, let's bring two states together. Let's bring two universities together and let's make it big. And so our shared vision led to this event, and we plan to alternate the venue between U of A and MSSU every year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Dr. Wong, your department, you did talk about agriculture, maybe like drones predicting yield. How can the work of your students also then time this? I mean, do they get intimidated of like, hey, we're not the computer people? So how will this benefit them when it comes to agriculture, and how are maybe robotics used in the ag and engineering world?
Yeah, so first, maybe I would say decades ago, computer and agriculture is kind of two separate things, right? But right now, it's actually, if you go to some big companies like John Deere, like maybe Bayer in Missouri, right? All these big companies, they are starting to invest money on how to better combine new technologies with its kind of like an old school industry.
Yeah.
Can really improving the efficiency of the crop production and maybe animal production. So your question is asking about how my student can benefit from.
Yeah.
First, I would say AI right now is not just for computers. Everyone benefit for AI. We have ChatGPT, a lot of people using it right now. And AI is actually kind of like reforming the entire ag and food industry.
Wow.
So they have more and more needs for this kind of like interdisciplinary background. People working on, modern ag and food manufacturing.
Are you talking, I mean, some of it's farm field. I know that like tractors are like really
Right.
elaborate now. They have computer systems,
Yeah.
all kinds of mapping. But in the actual food production world, is it also utilized there?
Yeah, they are doing quite a bit of work. For example, they can grading the food quality, whether or not the packaging. Right now, a lot of packaging work is done by the robot right now, and to evaluate the shelf life of the product. There's also quite a bit, I would say, in food manufacturing.
So let's talk about the event. What are the kinds of prizes that these students can win?
We are going to, yes, it's a competition. So you got prizes, yes.
Yeah.
So we got several tech gadgets that our students love, and we got several swag and gifts and all that. And we also got, one of our sponsors who is SoloLink. They're sponsoring their own platform. It's kind of a CRM that you could go for the winning team. So if in case they try to develop as a startup later, that could be a very good help for them. So that is one thing that the students would get probably. And also, like I mentioned, several tech gadgets. And beyond all of this, the experience is the real prize that they get, right?
Yeah.
So that takes them forward in their career. So that experience is the major prize I would say they get.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the event. And you said somebody doesn't have to be a computer whiz to be
Right.
part of this. When is it taking place? How do they kind of register? And can you come like by yourself? You don't have to have your own team, is that right?
Yes, actually, we have a whole website which is lionhogtech.com.
Okay.
So you can get into that website when you type www.lionhogtech.com. You could get in there and you can get all the details about the event in there. And there is a registration link where the students can just go ahead and register. There is a form there and they have to fill in their details. And like you mentioned, we have teams of size 1 to 4. And if in case they do not have a pair, they can come here, and if they want a partner, they could make friends there, or I wouldn't even say by the end of the event they are going to be friends, but they can get to know each other. Yeah. And if they, for example, like he mentioned, one of them could be an agriculture background, one of them could be a technology background, they can make an application together. In today's world, that is what you need. And so
And they don't have to be college students. High school students are welcome?
Yes, so we welcome all high school students, the college students, the grad and undergrad students as well. And like I mentioned, they can start here. So they're given the exposure, and like you said already, this is the first time of its kind in Missouri, which is really exciting.
Yeah. So finally, you have some workshops. We're going to be talking to 2 students coming up, and they're going to talk about their workshops. But tell me, what do you see as the benefit of having those workshops with some experts from the field?
Yes, so we got Dr. Wong's lab where we are going to have Chaitanya. He's going to talk about robotics. Not only talk, he's going to show you the real implementation of the robots. So far, if somebody is not even familiar that something exists of this sort, they could learn from there. And similarly, we have, I think you said the students are going to talk in detail about that. But like I mentioned, the real world experience and the practical knowledge is what they're going to get out of these workshops.
All right. Well, thank you both for all this information. Thank you for being here, making the trip from University of Arkansas. When we come back, we're going to take a break, and we will talk with the students who have taken part in a hackathon and are gearing up for Lion Hog Tech.
Lions Forward is more than a campaign. It's our commitment to the future. Through private giving, we're expanding educational opportunities in Joplin and the 4-state area, strengthening programs, and investing in our students. Many MSSU graduates choose to stay in our region, becoming the healthcare professionals, educators, and business leaders who keep our community strong.
Welcome back to Newsmakers, where we're learning about hackathons as MSSU prepares to host Lion Hog Tech. Joining our conversation are students from both universities involved. From MSSU, Edward Emanuel, a senior in computer information science and computational math, and president of CRIC, or the Smart CIS Club. And from the University of Arkansas, Chaitanya Palerla, a PhD student in food science. Welcome, and thank you for traveling all the way up to be here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
So when you go to a hackathon, do you already have an idea in mind, or does it truly start from the ground up when they say, here's our theme?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time, you might have an initial idea, but the actual good idea starts once you hear the theme. Once you're like in the environment, surrounded with your team and everything, everyone's brainstorming, thinking of ideas, and that's when the really good ideas come out.
And so, have both of you been part of a hackathon last year? Were you part of one last year?
Yeah, I participated one at Arkansas or U of A in April.
So what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was pretty fun because we brought people from the club at Southern over. So it's just really good like team building experience. If you when you spend 24 hours with the same group of people, it's like you just build a really strong bond. You're all connected together, towards one goal.
Yeah.
No.
So Chaitanya, tell us what aspect of what you're learning in school would be tapped at the hackathon that you feel like, okay, I want to put these skills to the test.
Okay, so I usually work on the robotics and automation applications of it in food science. So I would like to conduct the workshop on this robotics, making them learn few basics like a line following robot, which might be very useful in industries and also in the agriculture fields. So they need to follow a certain path. Let's say in a food industry, it needs to go around certain processing path. Either it needs to be fully coded to autonomously navigate through all the plant, which is very complicated. We can also make the task simple by letting the robot know this is your path and you should be only going in this path. So either we'll be drawing a line or connecting it to the ground, so which is much simpler. So doing the task much simpler way than making it more complicated. So this is the thing that I want to bring up in the workshop and learn, make them learn this.
Yeah, so you're actually doing one of the workshops at
yeah.
the event, and then will you be part of a team though that's also competing?
No, I'll be just teaching them how to build a robot and how to code the robot.
How to build a robot and how to code a robot. Okay, well, let's talk the environment of the hackathon. I mean, is it an adrenaline rush, Edward, when you're, I mean, because you do have like 24 hours. Is it intense?
Definitely at the beginning, you know, the opening ceremony, when the theme gets announced, everyone's like thinking of ideas. Yeah, definitely beginning, it's really hype. Everyone's trying their best to get everything started. And then throughout the night, you do start to get a little tired, drowsy, you know, since you haven't slept much. So then you do have to take a few naps, you know, to recover. But
And you have an idea, but you have to then sort of try to make it work or build it. Are there usually challenges or obstacles or things like, oh, we have to solve? I mean, they say problem solving. What are some of the problems that might come up as you're trying to, say, build something?
yeah, just with programming in general, you'll have like your initial idea, right? And you'll start writing the code. You can run the bugs, which is like errors, where it's not acting exactly where you wanted it to, so you have to go back and review it and fix those. And another thing is time constraints, right?
Yeah.
So you might have an idea, like you want to add a feature to the website, you know, maybe like a search, something like that. And you realize you don't have enough time to fully implement it, so you have to pivot and come up with possibly a different feature to add.
And you're talking in your workshop, you're giving one about web development. So what are you going to focus on as you do that?
Yeah, it's mostly going to be just a beginner website development kind of deal. We'll talk about JavaScript, HTML, CSS, which are 3 languages that every website uses as just like, it's kind of a standard. So we'll talk through how to set up your website, get it running locally, and how to make changes to it a little bit, just to help everyone get started on their project and not worry about the initial roadblocks they might run into.
A lot of us go to websites, we might Google something and we're like, oh, look, I can quickly find this. But it really takes somebody behind that to program it so that it does a faster search. And is that part of what students can kind of learn in this process of how to make things function faster, more efficiently?
Possibly, yeah. That's one of the challenges they're trying to face, you know, speeding up the search engine. Yeah, because another big part of it is just like research, like you'll look online how to add certain components to your website. Like you can look up how to speed up the search engine, all that kind of stuff. And part of it is you read it and then you apply it. So it's lots of like quick learning during the event. So.
And how do you guys feel like this prepares you for real world to go into some business and work for them?
Yeah. So I'd say in like real world applications from what I've seen, you get assigned a task or a project and then you have to do a lot of the planning, you know, plan everything out, then you'll start implementing. And then that's where you kind of figure out how the actual project works. Because, you know, once you get into the code, you're writing things, like you'll see which features are feasible, which ones are not. Then you'll talk to your team, communicate with them what's going to be possible, and you have the deadline too.
Chaitanya, talk about, you're working with robotics. How is robotics working in your area of study? Because how are robotics working in food science? I mean, I guess, is it part of the packaging machinery? Is it everything?
Yeah. So it plays almost a key role in every part in the industry. Let's say from the beginning, getting the raw material, we need to sort out the material based on color, bruise, and all this stuff. So we need a camera that can detect and automate the process of sorting. So we need to remove out that, let's say, potato. So we need to remove out that potato out of the conveyor belt, which is spoiled or which is looking not good or dirty, some kind of that stuff. So this is from the beginning, and it till the end in the packaging, as you had mentioned, we still have like, let's say you had put few produce in the packet, but the packet as a whole, that means it can disturb the present conveyor system that you have. So the camera should be detecting if there is any hole or if there is any damage of that packet. And also in the intermediary step, there are a lot of places where we will be using the automation. Yeah, and this is all we got. Yeah.
Well, another workshop that's going to happen is about game development with Ben from FP Studios, Full Bore Studios. Is that a big area of interest for students in CIS, game development, being involved in gaming?
Yeah, I definitely say so, yeah. I mean, most younger people, a lot of times their pastimes are playing video games and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Is that how you got involved in wanting to be involved in CIS?
oh yeah, originally there's this platform called Roblox that I made games on. I learned how to code from that, and then that got me interested in taking programming classes in high school, and then leading to the computer science degree. So
Awesome. What got you interested in this field?
So I'm actually interested in technology and engineering, like building everything from scratch, knowing how it works, what components it has. So I like to do like DIY stuff, like do it yourself, because by doing that way, I'll have a full knowledge of that equipment or that stuff, what's going on. So that's the main thing that drive me to take robotics and automation stuff, because nowadays the trending topic is also the robotics, and how and there is a lot of growth in that. So that's the main reason why I chose robotics and automation in food science. And it is very rare and unique doing robotics and automation in food science.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the main idea.
On the cusp of something new.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, another workshop is on AI, which we seem to hear about AI everywhere. And Syed from Freight Relay, an Arkansas trucking company, logistics, will be giving that. Is AI something you all are having to embrace, and does it change how you approach things, or is it a tool for you to use as you program or develop?
yeah, I would say so. Like over the past few years with just programming in general, it's changed a lot. With the use of AI, you can ask it questions like, write me a small bit of code. It acts kind of like, I guess you could think of scaffolding or a rough draft on like a paper, something like that, where it gives me code. It doesn't work exactly how I want it, but I'll go through, reread it, edit the code, and then get the polished product at the end.
You still have to be the one who analyzes it, but it does help you do some of that rough early work done, right?
Yeah, it's more of a tool to just like speed up my process. It can't fully replace me yet.
Yeah. So GroupMe came from a hackathon. Are computers integral to almost any business system nowadays? I mean, do we feel like this is needed for almost everything?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, most businesses do have websites now, and you would need someone to develop the website, manage the server, and especially if you have a product and you're keeping track of that, you'll have a database where you keep track of all the products you have in your different facilities, which ones you've sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Good luck to both of you at the hackathon and your presentations, and thank you for sharing this information.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that wraps up this edition of Newsmakers. Thanks to our guests, and thank you for watching.